Story time.
I love story time. This is
All
the part I
right.
get very annoyed.
Matt, how should we do this? Do you want to read it, or do you want me to read it to you, and then what should we do?
Where am I even going here?
Very top. Top of the dock.
Oh, the very top. Ah, yes.
There you go.
Okay. We can just go through it together.
All right. So, our first story is called The Tragedy of Arthra. All right. In the days when the kingdom of dragons was young, brave, Arthra's emerald-winged sword high above the clouds, the fastest fly of her day, she feared no enemy, nor would she back down from any challenge. Alas, her courage would be her undoing. Arthra had flown to the far corners of Kalimdor and back. She had witnessed wondrous sights and loved to share stories of them with her kin. Yet there came a day when she felt that she'd seen all that was there to be seen, so she grew bored and restless. She sought the wisdom of Keeper Tyr. Great Keeper, is there any mystery left for me to discover, any riddle yet to be solved? Tyr says, everything you need is here, child. What more could you want to see? What else could you seek to know? The dragon's brow furrowed. A cool wind blew in from the west. The breeze, Great Keeper, I want to see the place from whence the winds are born. Tyr grew solemn. Beyond the storming sea lies only ruin. Stay close to home, stay close to kin. Tyr's warning hung like a shadow over her heart. It clashed again and again with her deep yearning for answers. One bright morning, she bid farewell to her clutch mates. Fear not, she told them, for I can fly higher than any storm, faster than any thunder, and when I know from whence the west winds come, I shall return home and tell you all. And with that, no one saw her again. However,
You broke. That's not the story.
oh yeah, she
Read
probably,
it!
yeah.
Story time. Read it.
And with that, Arthra soared the sky. Moons passed, and still more, yet brave Arthra did not return. Even Ysera woke from her dreaming to aid in the search, but there was no sign to be found. Most believed that Arthra was lost to the storming sea, that her mighty wings grew tired and torn by the harsh winds, and that she tumbled into the roaring waters. But some Greens claimed they saw her in their dreams, that she reached a land beyond where she raised a brood of her own. Surely, after all these ages, we must accept the truth of her loss. While we honor her courage, we must remember the wisdom she failed to heed. Beyond the storming sea lies only ruin. Stay close to home, stay close to kin. Beware, beware the wind from the west. It holds only doom, for if you take wind across storm and sea, you share Arthra's doom.
I feel so comfy after that. That's very good.
It's really right.
Yeah,
it's a good story.
This is a very, very good story. It feels like one of the fucking fairy tale stories.
It does.
It's really, really good.
And it's also one that's being like, yo, dog, backside of Azeroth.
Yeah, it's literally...
This is pre-Sundering.
Yeah.
So this is pre-Sundering. So whenever someone in this story mentions Kalimdor,
is
that
it?
base...
No, this isn't pre-Sundering. Is it?
It is.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah,
yes, Sally sausage. Yeah, this is pre-Sundering. So whenever someone says Kalimdor in this is everywhere you see in the game map.
Beyond the storm.
Because Kalimdor, or well, bar the Dragon Isles, which I suppose was always an island. But anyway, basically, it was all Kalimdor. It was one big continent, and it blew up. This is before it blew up. So, yes, basically, what do we got? The Forbidden Sea and the...
The Veiled Sea is to the west, and Forbidden Sea is to the east.
So, they called it the Storming Sea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's something going on there. Beyond that sea lies only ruin. Now, this almost reminds me of... I don't know, it makes me think of some, grand fall of, kingdoms, fall of... Like the Doom of Valeria, right? Which... Song of Ice and Fire thing. Just the idea of like, whatever is there, it's just doomed. Bad mojo, don't go there. Because Tyr doesn't say there's nothing there. Like, Tyr would be like, no, there's nothing there. It's a circle.
It's the classic here be lines.
Yes.
It's the classic, no, you don't go there. And some of that is because it's unexplored. Some of that is because it's not supposed to be explored. Some of that is because it's too dangerous and you shouldn't go. It's full on children bedtime story, and that makes perfect sense for dragons who can fly.
Yeah,
that's just don't fly, don't do.
Yeah, and of course this is coming from Tyr, who at the stage like Tyr, he's in a way our bro, good guy, but he still is going to think what he thinks, right?
I really like this. It's such a perfect way to put lore into a game, I think.
Yes, this is exactly how to do it.
Like there's a whole bunch in my head. I was just like, how reliable is this? And I'm like, it's a fucking folktale, you idiot. Stop being the way you are for a small second and try to get the intended experience out of this, which is a wink, wink, nudge, nudge in a way that's like really quite cool. But it's all of the description. It's the thing that this is.
It's well written. It's nice.
Yeah, that's exactly it. This is. I don't want to say surprisingly well written, but it's this. It's the way it's literally told.
Yeah, it absolutely is, because it's not just lore updates, new fact. It's also in itself a narrative experience, which is what these things should be.
Like comparing this to the Notharian annotation book, I think the annotated version of that is a really cool way of doing it.
Yes,
but this feels way more. This feels like it builds the world better.
It does.
Whereas the Notharian annotated version felt specifically for us.
Yes.
And this obviously is for us, but it doesn't feel like it's for us. It feels like this, especially where it's found. It feels like this is something you could literally like. You would see green dragons reading this to their children, or telling them the story, and I think that's fantastic.
So next we have a book called The Legend of Aluna here.
I'm so terrified.
Yes.
I feel my heart jump.
This is found in an inn around Emir Drasil. And the flavor text says, as is common with ancient myths, details of this tale are oft disputed. And with that, let's go. This will be an interesting one. As we gather to defend Emir Drasil, we cannot help but recall the tragic fates of World Trees past, those lost to sacrifice, to corruption, to flame. Yet there is an ancient tale, some claim it merely a legend, that tells of an earlier World Tree that met a sorrowful fate. Though it lived only a short time, its legacy endures. Long before the dragons drew breath, Azeroth was conquered by writhing horrors that plummeted from the skies and infested our world, the old gods. How long the reign of their Black Empire lasted, we cannot know. Surely it must have been a time of unimaginable suffering, but at long last there came hope. The brave titan Agrimar discovered Azeroth, shining like a beacon in the great dark. As he gazed upon the beauty and power of its slumbering soul, he realized it was imperiled. He told the other members of the Pantheon how the world they sought had been corrupted by the old gods. The Titans gathered to eradicate this dark influence. Seeking to bring hope and healing, our patron Titan, Aenar, carried a gift given to her by Elune, a branch of Gehanir, the Mother World Tree. The Titan believed that the influence of life would drive the darkness away, so she reached down her hand and shaped the soil of Azeroth, planting the branch where it could be fed by river and sky. The branch swiftly grew into a tree, its roots extending deep, deep below the surface. Aenar smiled, for everywhere its roots stretched, new life emerged. She called the tree Elune Ahir in honor of her great love. When Aman'Thul saw what Aenar had done, he chided her. "This is not order," he bellowed. "You have infected this world with uncontrolled chaos." The High Father took hold of the World Tree's trunk and tore it from the earth. Aenar wept bitter tears that rained down upon the resulting crater. But as she peered down upon the sundered earth, the Titan realized a truth she did not share with the High Father. Though he had destroyed the tree, its winding roots still held firm beneath the soil, hidden from Aman'Thul's gaze. As the forces of the Titans waged war against the Black Empire, Aenar bid her keeper, Freya, to watch over the crater and nurture the life that blossomed there. Below ground, the roots fed upon the tears of Aenar and grew strong. The war was long, but in the end, the Titans claimed victory, and Aenar was pleased, knowing Elune's legacy would endure. It is said that much later, as the world entered a new age, mysterious guardians arrived who dedicated their lives to protecting the roots. But that is a tale for another time. Now, let us stand with our allies to defend Emir Drasil, crown of harmony. Together we will preserve the symbol of hope, the symbol of the future.
I was expecting to be very mad.
I was
really cute. I really like this.
I told you, you bastard!
Yeah, I really like this. It's that like storytelling quality that makes it way better than here is lore dump, by the way. Even if it is a little bit like, the brave Titan Agrimar discovered Azeroth, blah blah blah. This is all like I guess it's a little bit, it's almost a little bit too narrator voicey.
I think,
But
the
there's-
criticism I would have is capital O order being said, because whenever Amanthul says this uncontrolled chaos, that's not him. That's him referring to life, which that's what the tree is. It's friggin' life. So you kind of know how he feels about it. That feels that feels characterful. When he says this is not order, like, I think it would be better if he said this is not our way.
I was literally thinking our way. Yeah.
There we go.
This is not our way. Yeah.
Which would have made it clear that, life in that way is not something they approve of. Because the basic story here is, for the Titans, they don't want the world to be totally overcome by Earth. By life. Now, this is something that's actually fairly deep in the lore of Draenor. Because Draenor has really awesome lore between the Genosaurs, the Breakers, like the big, mountain-sized rock dudes, the Scatus, like the Arakoa civilization. I've been wanting to do a video about this for like years at this stage.
People are big in the Arakoa these days. People are real talking about how cool they were and how like much lore they had in TBC and WoD that was ultimately a little bit underdelivered.
So on Draenor, basically, Draenor almost got wholly consumed by the Everbloom. What you see in the Everbloom, essentially, what you deal with in Gorgrond. And it's, of course, no coincidence that the Everbloom is one of the dungeons in the new Mythic Plus dungeon pool. And at the very end of Everbloom, what happens is this big Genosaur dude almost, like, infests Stormwind with this, like, chaotic, uncontrolled, growth. And that is actually something that later is introduced to Durotar by the Mag'har orcs in their escape from Draenor. So the idea of, it's what I say in the video that comes out tomorrow. It's what Ian Malcolm said. Life finds a way.
Sure does.
Sure does. And, of course, in Uldorus... You know what Uldorus? Is it Uldorus? The Titan Utopia time rift? In that time rift, it's supposed to be the Titan Utopia. Uldaroth, that's it, yeah.
Uldorus is Tyrald.
I'm really stupid. I actually misspoke in that video. I'll have to do a pinned comment. Oh, well. In Uldaroth... it's supposed to be the Titan Utopia, but no, life has totally owned them.
Destroyed them.
Yeah, and it turns out like the flora and fauna are just so uncontrolled and wild and savage that the Titan keepers, like the big keepers that they make, just keep on getting destroyed. So they have to make smaller and smaller keepers so that they can hide. So that's kind of what Amanthul's talking about here. Yet for Aenar, though, represents something different. And I guess getting more of a relationship between Aenar and Elune, I think that is something that can work as well. Whenever these characters are seen as being like, the 3D printed pantheon of here and here and here and here, that's quite boring. Now, if you want to talk about like the Greek gods, those fucky, sucky, crazy people. Greek gods were banging each other, banging mortals, getting in weird schemes, angry with each other, like...
The folly of the gods was a very big part in myth, like.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, like, I want this bunch to be more characters. And, I think that's the way to do it. You still need to keep them being mythological, but I suppose what you want is for them to not feel like a bunch of regular characters to us, or at least for us when we're playing the game. We want to sort of see these as if, the sort of ancient peoples. We want to see these in the same way, or like our characters' experience with these beings should be similar to the stories that the ancients told about their cultures and their cultures' interactions with their own gods.
Yeah, like particularly the thing that's sticking out to me most here is the idea of Aenar and Elune in whatever form of love it is. I think that's fascinating to me because it retroactively goes back and gives us a flavor for Aenar being, stowed away in Elinaria. It immediately goes, oh, she went to Elinaria because that was obviously, maybe she named it after Elune, that was somewhere she liked, or maybe her and Elune maybe spent time there and she like felt safe there and she knew it was protected by some capacity of her. It's stuff like that I find is really like, that's the kind of thing it feels mythological in nature.
Yes,
that's and it also goes away to go, well, it almost by feeling that way, it has a tendency to make me shut up basically, where instead of me going,
Doesn't feel cold and manufactured.
What's Elinaria? What's Elinaria? Let's find the details. Let's dig deep into find the logical reasoning and stuff. This is just like, and they were remits or whatever they were. They were remits, so she stayed there whenever she felt in danger. And I'm like,
shut up! It was all Alag.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's
100%.
really cute, and I enjoy that, and I am very happy to leave it there now because I don't need to think about it any further because it's good.
Yeah,
like obviously, I think
this is good myth, good
the
lore.
idea of being gifted a branch of Gahanir is a bit weird. Oh, but again, just kind of in the logical sense.
Oh no,
like,
no.
What?
I mean, I understand, but don't worry. This is only 2 out of 3.
Okay, good.
It's only 2 out of 3.
Good.
So, will the third one finally make Matt crack?
Maybe. Yeah, this is such a drastic improvement over Shadowlands stuff.
Yes.
In the sense that if any of
fractals,
if Farim's readings were anything like this, I would have had a lot less like actual rage incarnate because it's kind of fascinating to me. Even like the Tree of Alon here. Like this is all we're getting a little bit. Here's fucking whatever. Here's what we're telling our grand narrative about the cosmos here. I don't really give a shit about this.
Well,
it's okay, but like
the bit there that is better is like there was disagreement amongst these people because unlike being 3D printed robots that follow programming, ANR has love, and that love has obviously changed her opinion on on how things should be done.
It's corrupted her.
Oh,
but I get what you mean. It's like this is different. It
increases the personhood, but still keeps the mythological angle.
Yeah, it's different to the Titans or all this council that are all in agreement until Sargeras went mad. It's now these are actually closer to people. But I really like just it's maybe I'm literally just super weak to this stuff, like the mythology kind of side of it and the allegorical part. But like in our web bitter tears that rain down. And the winding roots, they fed upon the tears of Aenar and grew strong. That stuff is like, that's the Lady in the Lake shit I like. This doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever, but it's cool, so I dig it. Much later, as the world entered a new age. What new age? Which age was it? Was this like what age was happening? Is this the Night Elves? Is it? Probably, maybe, but what roots? No,
mysterious guardians arrived who dedicated their lives to protecting its roots.
The roots. Mysterious Guardians, so this is post Black Empire and post Titans going away. So does that imply that there's a history to the Night Elves we don't know?
Maybe.
Is this maybe just Cenarius and the lads? Cenarius and
mysterious guy would they be mysterious to the dream? I don't know.
Well, who's writing this?
Where they arrive from?
Yeah.
That's probably the larger thing.
Yeah, arrived is very extraterrestrial sounding, which I'm a little bit concerned about. But is it arrived, showed up, Mysterious Guardians? What's your perspective? This is stuff I'm just kind of chewing the fat over for no good reason. But I think I actually, as much as I think they could maybe explain why Amir Dussul is such a symbol of hope, a little bit more astoundingly than
it is a symbol of hope. Shut up.
Yeah, shut up.
Well, Matt, maybe you'll
fantastic
understand more.
Yes.
When we move to our next little segment, which is
maybe
on the nature of the dream. Written by an unnamed dragon. Note, contains speculation not to be shared with the keepers.
Yeah, fuck the keepers. Yeah.
Okay.
I wonder if this stream would be demonetized.
I have spent ages here within the Emerald Dream, exploring its reaches and basking in its tranquility. Yet the more I experience, the more I perceive seems to be at odds with the lessons taught to us by the Titan Keepers. Thus, I am compelled to share my feelings, not to stir discontent or to claim my theories are mutable truths, but to encourage others to ponder these subjects for themselves. 2. It has been said that the dream was created by Keeper Freya, acting on behalf of her patron Aenar. And yet, I have noticed that the Titan's acolytes do not speak of something as finished until it has been ordered. So did they truly create the dream, or merely discover it, seeing its vibrancy as chaos to which they were compelled to bring structure? And of course, you see Titan fingerprints, all around the dream whenever you go to it. Going back to the story, seeking an answer, I have spoken to many spirits who inhabit the dream, dryads, ancients, grove keepers, and others. none of them tell of a Titan creating the dream. Instead, they speak of the first spirits awakening long ago within its wilds, in lands as beautiful and free as they are today. Though I wonder, since time has so little meaning here, whether those born of the dream truly think in terms of past or present. We have also been told that the dream is sort of... No, I'll do that again. We've also been told that the dream is sort of a framework for life on Azeroth. And is it true that we see reflections of our world within the dream? Yet, while it is clear that these realms share a bond, is one a copy of the other? Or might both be reflections, informing the shape of its counterpart? Many times I shrugged off the call of sleep and have taken wing to explore the distant reaches of the dream. The farther I flew, the greater wonders I beheld. Life took forms strange and unfamiliar, bizarre, impossible plants and trees, creatures unlike any I beheld before. Perhaps the dream is not only bound to Azeroth, but to realms not yet discovered. Is it a reflection of those places too? At these far reaches, I felt the presence of entities whose power seemed vast and unknowable, akin to the Titans themselves. Had I reached the edges of the dream, where it flows into the realms of life? Are they one and the same? Truly, I cannot say, for as waves of joy and contentment washed over me, I could no longer resist the call of sleep. I awoke back at the Eye of Ysera, wondering if I had experienced a dream within the dream. It seems clear that the servants of the Titans wish the dream to stay unchanging, at least unchanged by any hand but theirs. Yet the very nature of life is one of change, is it not? Things are born, live and die, but life itself goes on. Perhaps life was never meant to be ordered to be static and unchanging. The Titan servants do not seem to understand that life and death are sisters, bound together in a great cycle. Do they not wish to see this truth, or is it beyond their fundamental nature to perceive it? If we dragons see it, then it must mean we are touched not just by life and order, but by other forces as well. And if dragons are the product of powers great and small being eternally intertwined, then so must all mortals be. Perhaps Azeroth herself was touched by all these forces. Or could she be their true source? Some things are beyond knowing, some things are only to be pondered in dreams.
Very good. Very good. I enjoyed that.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I was real 50-50.
Except for this shit. This can go fuck itself. Realms of Life didn't need a name drop.
Yeah, they didn't need to say that.
They didn't need
it. Just all needs to be the dream, and it needs to be woolly. So yes, that was my main criticism.
Yeah,
my main criticism was that, and how declarative this is.
Yeah, I also think this kind of sucks balls.
Okay,
perhaps you could. Maybe Azeroth is everything. Go away. Go away.
What?
We can infer that. Don't fucking tell us, you goof.
So I think with this is the subtext. This should have been the subtext. They should have said, exactly. Maybe we are not of their kind. Maybe, we are something different, as mortals are. Perhaps the way, they don't understand the great cycle of life and death. Maybe that means something, and they claim. Okay, so I have many core takeaways from this. The core takeaway of the very end, though, is, for me, Azeroth is not a Titan. World Souls are not Titans. I think they are just some form of entity, some natural thing. Maybe what you could call the sort of god of a world in a very, there are many cultures, Earth Mother. Right? So the idea of Azeroth being a Titan that hasn't woken up yet, that doesn't feel like the Earth Mother. Azeroth being something that isn't a Titan, that is more raw, primal, and connected to the world, that feels more like the Earth Mother. That feels kind of more like a, myth, instead of just like, this is an egg for a thing called a Titan that floats around space. So my read of this is, Aman'Thul and the crew, they find these world souls and they turn them into a Titan. In the same way that if an old god found found Azeroth, the old god would do the old god things to Azeroth, and then Azeroth would be an old god thing. It would be a big void monster, Lovecraft god. So that's kind of what I think is going on here. I think that life and death are probably very important and sort of meant to be like a natural cycle that means that Azeroth, never becomes overgrown with life or consumed by death. And that's kind of much of the point. Insert Vana here. I think that's what they might be trying to go for. The other side of this then is just quite straight confirming, like, these unknowable, impossible plants, that's just other worlds.
Yeah.
And I think that's the cool way to do it.
Yeah, so I've got a way to fix this. Got a way to fix this. Oops.
Look at him go. Where's he going to stop?
Fixed. Done. Sorted. Look at that. Happy days. Easy as can be. Fixed. Immediately. None of the cosmically declarative lore.
Yeah.
Spot on, Akari. You're completely right there. None of that. That said, I like this bit's fine.
I think
this bit, like, this is all you need. You don't need to then immediately go, what if text?
No, it's like, that's the job of me in my head brain.
Exactly.
Not your words.
Yeah, you
your words inspire that.
You push this to someone, you go, perhaps life was never meant to be ordered to be static and changing. And then you go, oh, well, I understand what you're trying to say because there's a heavy implication there. The Titans are trying to control life as opposed to let it flourish. And obviously your point is that life flourishing is a natural thing. Sweet, fantastic. But as soon as they start bringing all the capital fucking letters in, basically keep your capital letters, keep your proper nouns out of this shit.
That is for your wiki. That's not for your game text.
Yeah.
What I do... So yes, my criticisms of this are the declarative sort of cosmic stuff in the way that they handle that. Again, it's like, this should be the things that I'm thinking about, not the things you're saying. However, that said, where they are quite clearly moving things here is, I think, the better direction.
This is such a profound improvement over the delivery of any like text-based book lore that I've seen in this expansion so far, outside of the
Zerath Lumen.
Yeah, outside of the stuff that is more outside of the stuff that's more grounded and can be declarative because it's about actual characters, like the stuff we saw in 10.0.7 with Ashara and the Night Squall and stuff. That stuff's all fine, but this is substantially better than like the Niltharion book or any of the Shadowlands primers and stuff like that. This is such a substantial upgrade. It's incredible. Now, some of that from my perspective is literally because I am a absolute bad thing for the dream. For the dream, I weak at the knees for it. Like I love nature.
That
and
they've
love the
been
dream
able
so
to
much.
do the dream, cover it in some of those modern things, and not send you into a literal blood rage.
Yeah, like maybe I'll think about it a little bit longer, and I'll think about the implications of what they're trying to say when they talk about if we dragons see it, we're touched by other forces as well. Like so I guess this is another problem. If dragons are the product of powers great and small but eternally intertwined, then so must all mortals be. Bro, where the fuck did you get this for sentence from? This isn't academic. You took such a profound leap from perhaps life was never meant to be ordered to, by the way, all the forces combined. Remember the cosmic chart?
Because that like implicitly means that this dragon is like, oh yeah, I know about the chart. I've read Chronicle.
Yeah, that's what that tells me, and that's a little bit too far. But right up until about halfway through this, like this little person's experience and their pondering is really fantastic to me. And I think that is really, really, really strong. Like even this, instead they speak of the first spirits awakening long ago within its wilds, and then saying, well, time has no meaning here, so is that even relevant to time? Where does that land in anything? And I think that's actually really fun. I think it's really fun stuff. Did they create the dream or discover it? Vibrancy is chaos. I mean, that's a bit again heavy-handed. There's a little bit of too much from this. This feels a little bit too much like I'm trying to write something and being a fucking self-insert dragon or something a little bit, but otherwise, like I do like that it is. I like the framing.
Yeah,
I like the way it describes a lot of this stuff. It's very. It actually gets the vibe of what thinking about the dream is supposed to be like.
Yeah, I like the description of like even when it, when the dragon is kind of almost about to go off piste, out of the dream bit and into the more primal bit. It's like you didn't need to say the raw. But like the idea of like you began to come to a part of the dream you truly didn't understand, and then you felt very uncomfortable. Like, kind of just needed to leave it there. But like broadly speaking, I think that's you're right. It's a way better description of these things. I also think about like you did, I think, a bunch of the side quests.
In Tattoo?
Yeah.
Not too many of them so far.
Like,
some of them.
I at least remember you looked around and you were happy.
10-2 is I was terrified.
Yeah.
I was terrified of what they would do to my precious Emerald Dream. And generally speaking, from what I've seen so far, they've done a pretty good job with exploring it. Particularly in how they're doing the Druids of the Flame. Now, the Druids of the Flame still need some sort of action because they are a bunch of... Here's a trauma cult, which again falls foul of Dragonflight being, what if everyone was sad? As opposed to, let's kill some motherfuckers. It's like, it needs to have a little bit of both of that. At the minute, it's very trauma heavy, but it's in a topic that I'm happy enough with. It's just, I wish they could really hold back from trying to break the fourth wall, because all of these proper nouns are breaking the fourth wall. Because what the fuck is a dragon talking about life and death and capital D and a great cycle? That's some shit I saw in Shadowlands. You don't come to this in the same. You can say this in a different term. You can say this in more flowery language. You can say this in an observation.
Yeah.
You can say this you could say this as a comparative to the Titanforge, right? You go, we dragons, we live for long, but we eventually die. We give birth. We pass the lessons on from one to another. When we sire children, we have to teach them, we have to nurture them, and we see ourselves in them. And this continues for generations, and there's an echo of the great ancestor in the great descendant. And that inspires change over time. We can correct our own mistakes, but we look at the Titanforged, and the Titanforged are copies. Even if they do live their own lives, that isn't carried on. Whatever they experience is gone to time, lost forever, like Tears and Rain. And then another one is created, but they don't get that passed down. It's static, it's unchanging. That's the kind of thing that a dragon like this would have like an observation of. And that's what it would be. The life and death, sisters bound together in the great cycle. That's what that would come across as, I think, in a substantially better way. And a little bit more of a like actual pondering as opposed to the great cycle, big G, big C. See, this is the part where if you're right, Derenick, I will say the horrible things out loud.
Oh no.
Maybe that dragon is actually a broker. Didn't they say they were everywhere?
No!
Maybe this is them trying to stir up shit in Azeroth against the Titans?
No!
Why did you say that?
That's a horrible thing to say to someone.
That's so mean.
Why have you done this?
That could be completely true. That could be absolutely correct. There's a decent chance that this is a book written by a fucking broker or a dreadlord or some shit.
Nah.
I'm not assuming it is, but it's a vague possibility in my head. Now I'm angry again. Yeah, you're onto them. Yeah, Demontis, it feels like the writers are patronizing the audience reading these things and treating us like we need our hands held to read between the lines. Because subtext is a lost art,
but
I think.
Here's one of the challenges. Subtext actually is lost.
Yeah, like the ability to write subtext is lost.
They need to do this because audiences are getting so goddamn media illiterate that they can't fucking think.
Yeah, the ability to read subtext is gone as well as the ability to write it.
Yeah.
It's so dire. The curtains are blue. They're only blue. There's absolutely nothing in the author had no intent in describing the scene whatsoever, and if you think it is, you're stupid. Obviously, that is often used to decry someone who's looking too close for subtext, but that joke has propagated so far that people no longer understand the concept of subtext, and there's like, well, if they would have said the sads, no.